Hey everybody, it's time for our lesson this week and I'm calling it Glistening Pines, and I just dipped my hand in some paint, of course. And I did some already. I did one painting already and I'm going to show you that really quick. I really want to do, I don't know, I'm so inspired by pine trees this year, and you know, like snow on the trees and just nature, you know. I don't know why, I don't know what that's about, but oh gosh, gotta kind of wipe up this mess or I'm gonna dip my elbow into it. Hopefully that's okay. And so let me grab that. Probably easier to bring it to the camera. So I don't know if you had a chance to see this. I posted it a little while ago in the group. And, oh, let me turn the camera down and turn it upside down. And I should probably tag you guys. Let's see. I'm tagging. I know you can't all make it, but okay. All right, how do I get out of the tagged screen? Oh my goodness. Oh, Facebook. Okay, I don't know if that worked or not. It's always something. Okay, so here it is. Isn't it nice? I mean, it's loose. I intended for it to be loose. I intended for it to be watercolory inspired. And I mean, the reason why I didn't do it as a watercolor is because I want to probably add glass and resin to it. But you don't have to add glass and resin to it. And you can do this in any format that you would like. This is a really large palette board that I made because I have a lot of this wood from when I did my paint parties. You could do a smaller one, you could do it on wood, you could do it on canvas. Okay, so I used my fluid acrylics by Golden, but you don't have to use these, obviously. These are a little pricey. These are not anything that I have recommended that you purchase. Certainly you should use whatever you have, but I thought I'd go through the colors first, and then we're gonna do it on a small one like this. Oh, this got smeared. We're just gonna do it on a small one like this, and I basically used, this is a 6x12 birch panel, and I used the metallic paint with a little bit of blue in it, and put it on with my hardware store chip brush that I always use. And let me grab that and show you that just in case you're new. So this is my favorite brush to put to get that streaky textured effect. I like to cut into the bristles and make it real chunky. The first time you use one of these, you do need to kind of pull the extra hairs out because they fall out. And that's what I used to paint this. So my background is ready, and I'm going to do the same thing on this that I did here. And we're going to start out with pale shades of, really pale watery shades of blue, and then we're going to get a little darker and darker and darker, and we're going to use, I even used like Payne's gray and alizarin crimson. You can see it's kind of purple over here. So there's a whole myriad of colors in here, and it's like, hey, whatever you want. You know, you need a yellow, you need a blue, you need either a black or a dark brown. Payne's gray would be a good color to use, and a warm red. So you could use burnt sienna, or you could use alizarin crimson and mix that. If you have viridian green, a cool green, that's great. You need a cool green and a warm green. So Of course, you can make your own green from whatever yellow and blue you're using, but these tend to be warm colors, and then there's cool colors too. So see the color shift going on here? Of course, we know that anything in the distance is always becomes lighter and bluer, and that's all we want to do here is get a little sense of distance. So let's get started. I'm going to move this out of the way. So I thought I would just talk a little bit about the brush stroke technique for doing a pine tree. I had drawn this previously for something else, but it still applies. But I'm going to go over it again. And you know, the idea here is that we're doing a whole forest. And so what I think I'll do, and this is a nice big pad of paper that I like to kind of design and try out my ideas on. It's actually just sketch paper. It's size 14 by 17. And I'm just going to take this size that I'm going to be working on and draw myself a couple of rectangles of the same size. Just trace the outline of it roughly, quickly. And so I can just kind of design what it is I want to do here with this. I'll pull you a little closer. And I don't think you can see that edge, so let me grab a Sharpie. So it's kind of my thumbnail and my color palette test, if you will. I like to have my colors figured out, and then once I have them figured out, I have them out on my palette, and then I just want to start painting, which is what happened with the sample I just showed you. I'm like, oh my goodness, this looks so yummy. I can't wait to teach them the lesson. I'm going to go ahead and paint it now. So that's what I did. So, okay, I'm going to have one palette. I'm just using, you know, styrofoam plates today. I'm going to have one palette for warm colors and one for cool colors. And you can see that I used this before and it's kind of drying up a little bit. These colors are all going to intermix, so don't be OCD about it. Let these colors mix. But let's go ahead and get some colors out on our palette. I've got enough alizarin or a warm red there, so I'm good there, right? But I want to put some sap green out again. And with this paint, you really don't need much at all. And then I'm going to put some, oh, this is Indian yellow. I don't think I want Indian yellow. That's a little too intense probably. So I'm going to put some transparent yellow oxide, or, you know, any warmish yellow. You could, if you just have regular yellow, like daffodil yellow, or yellow orange, just add a little bit of brown to it or a little bit of red to it to make it more subdued, I guess. Okay, so I've got a red, yellow, and green. And then on this one, for the cool colors, I'm gonna get a little more of my Viridian. You could use phthalo green. I think it's phthalo green blue shade, right? I also have, you know, maybe a little ultramarine blue or whatever blue you have, cobalt blue, phthalo blue, whatever blue you have. And then maybe I'll grab a little more Payne's Gray again. And I love Payne's Gray. And some dark brown. This is sepia. Actually, I'm going to put the sepia over here because it's a warm color. And that's it. That's enough, right? So let's just talk about color mixes. And I got my water here. And I'll do color mixes. Let's do the distant forest. So I'm going to grab another plate too. I'm gonna put some water on here, and we're basically gonna treat this like watercolor, and it is okay to add a lot of water to acrylics. Somebody years ago posted that on YouTube, and I found out that that wasn't true. that you know, you got to be careful not to add too much water to acrylics. That's a wives' tale. So here is a really pale blue, and I'm just going to do these strokes like this. See, it's easy for me to do them on the left side of it. For the right side, I have to kind of go like this. And I'm just simply, you know, practicing a tree, right? Easy peasy. While that's wet, I can do some fun stuff. I can go back in with a darker color and just drop it in there, which is the beauty of like watercolors, right? And so I'm dropping in my Payne's Gray, and look how pretty that looks. Let it do its thing, you know, just don't mess with it too much. I can even drop in maybe this brown or a purple and see what happens. Maybe that was too much. I'm not going to worry about it though. Okay. Nice. This is a very loose style that we're going for today. You want to have fun being loose. One way to be loose is to hold your brush like on the end, you know, make your hand relax. Just relax your hand. Let it go limp. Hold your brush very relaxed and see what happens. Let's do it. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. Okay, I need a little more water. That was kind of dark. And look, I'm just being really loose. And just let it do what it wants to do, right? So those are some nice pale colors. If I want to get just a little bit towards the green side, I can add some of that, you know, either phthalo green or viridian green, whatever green you have. Let's see how that looks. Let it run into the other one. Still holding my brush loose. Look how I'm kind of like, look how I'm holding the brush. I'm just kind of squiggling back and forth. You know, what's cool about doing this on paper is, you know, hey, it's just paper. Who cares, you know? So have fun being loose on paper and see what happens when you do that. So that was a pretty color, and, you know, I'm going to make a mental note of how I did that, right? And if I want it lighter, just add more water. Maybe I need a smaller brush. Maybe I'm going to do my strokes a little more horizontal. I see a lot of people do evergreens like almost horizontal. So let's, like, you could do this sort of a thing where it's, you could, you know, do a dashed line first. This is a little more controlled, but you could certainly, you can certainly do them this way, you know. They're kind of more stylized. And then come back in and add some darker pieces to it. You know, there's so many different ways. What you can do is, you know, just Google, you know, watercolor pine trees or something, and you'll see so many different cool styles of this, you know. So, and then, or maybe you want something a little more on the yellow side. So let's grab our yellow here and do a really pale yellow. You know, maybe it gets a little darker down here. Went back, got some more yellow. But see how the yellow kind of adds some warmth to it? It really warms it up. So I want you to do that. I want you to play around with your colors and figure out what you like. You're doing two things. You are practicing your brush strokes Like you're coming up with your technique, you know, what works for you. And your colors. You know, use the colors that you love. Figure that out on this, on paper. So that kind of helped me out, right? So now I think what I want to do is come back in, and this was all just with one brush. Try and do it with a big brush, and then you can come back in with a smaller brush, maybe a script liner like this. Who have I got here with me? Is someone here with me? Say hello. I probably can't see comments. And, you know, what if you come back in and just do, you know, some strokes, some splatters. I love splattering. If you've been following me at all, you know I love splatters. Just here and there. Pick out which trees you want to stand out and just kind of get a little bit loose with it. You can always go back to your other brush and have a paper towel standing by in case you put something down that you just don't like. And you can always dab at it and pick it back up and take it off of there. You know, experiment and have fun to get a feel for what works for you. Does that make sense? All right, so that's probably enough. So we've got our paints out. We've got a rough idea of what we're gonna do technique-wise. I think I'm gonna try and do my trees to look something like this. But, you know, certainly figure out what you like. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my board that I've got prepped. And I'm gonna get started. Now this is still a little bit wet, so let me hit that. And, you know, I think I want to embellish this later with glass and resin, but I certainly don't have to. But I do like the idea of it being horizontal to give that feeling of a landscape. And who knows, maybe you could put a word across the top or something. Trying to dry that off a little bit. But it does have a little bit of shimmer and texture to it, which I like. So this brush that I was using for that really large board is probably too big for this board. So let me get a smaller brush. I even have, now I'm forgetting what the name of this is, but I even have one of these. These tend to make nice, nice wispy lines. So I might use that. I've got a smaller brush, and I'm still gonna use this, this really thin liner brush. And I'm picturing that it's gonna be the same that I did before. It's gonna be the darker trees down here, and the distant trees all in there. I'm gonna leave some sky, okay? So, probably need you a little closer. Okay, I hope that's showing up okay. I think it is. And maybe I could put my paint over here. Hopefully this all shows up. I have no idea. Oh, I can even do this. Okay, so, so I'm gonna start with those distant trees. I don't know, I kind of feel like I need an even smaller brush. So I'm gonna see what happens with this guy. And I need some paper towels. And my goal, always have a goal when you are painting. You know, my goal is that I want this to just look natural and loose and fun and fresh and, you know, We're just not being real serious today. Oh, this still has some white in it. I don't think I mind that. Oh, this has a very bad tip. I should just throw this one away. Okay, hold on, one more. I have a lot of brushes. Okay, this one ought to work. So yeah, I got a really small brush to start because of these really distant ones. All right. And I'm just going to put some really distant trees. So these are just, you know, lines that come together and form a little point. And I'm going to try not to make them all the same value and the same distance from each other. And different heights. All these things we have to think about, right? Okay. And you know, you might just shift your color ever so slightly. Just picture these are just all different trees. Some in front of the other. So I'm just going to keep it really light. Happy little trees. I like this pale purplish color. You know, the pale color that you get from ultramarine blue is quite different from a green blue, so it's fun to vary that. Maybe it's going to start to get just a little darker and greener here and there. So if you have any questions about this at all, just drop them in the comments below there. I'd be happy to answer any questions. So these are a little bit too vivid looking, I'm realizing. I don't know that that's a bad thing necessarily. But you're going to continue them down. You know, why not? I am liking how it's looking. That's a little dark, but you know, all of this is going to get darker, you know, as we go. And I'll probably switch to a bigger brush and all too. So just picture the pine tree in your mind's eye, you know, where it is, and just paint those paint those branches to go to that point, you know. And you know, you can move it as you're going. All right, so since we're getting over here, this could become warmer now. So I'm gonna add a little bit of my sap green to my this cool blue over here that I had, and just warm it up a little bit. And I like what that's doing. Leave some of the background showing. It's totally fine to do that. And you could have some of your pine trees where the branches go up, you know, just to kind of make them look different. All right, so we are kind of getting there. This is fun. This is, you know, once you get in the flow, it's really fun. All right, I'm going to go back to the really thin, small ones up here. Fill this in just a little bit more. I try not to get too much into making all the branches the same angle and the same curve. I try to really, I'm always switching it up. I don't just subconsciously let myself go into caveman mode when I'm painting, because it just doesn't work, you know? Okay, let's get a little warmer now. And the brain just figures out what this is, believe it or not. So that kind of worked out nice. I'm kind of just filling in areas with a different color, and it seems to work. Like right there, I just filled that in with green. Here, I filled that in with green. All right, I wish I could see questions and comments, but I guess that's just not going to happen today. And, you know, I'm starting to let the brush kind of lay on its side a little bit to get bigger strokes. I don't know your brain, okay? No, we all have that brain that wants to go, you know, all the same brush strokes everywhere. We all tend to do that, seriously. That's why I say that, you know. Okay, so now, and you know, some of that you could just leave plain, and if you're gonna add glass and resin over this, just leave it. You could put those little chunks of green glass on there and it'll fill it in and look really, really nice. And, you know, practice on paper then, you know, seriously. Like I've got my hand rigged up here that my painting hand is sitting on top of my other hand just to kind of, I don't know, lift the brush up a little bit more. The brush can be a little more 90 degrees. And so I'm seeing how that, you know, kind of works for me. And then I'm going to switch to a cool colored tree again. So I'm kind of just switching between cool and warm colors. If you can just get past your brain and get past thinking that it's hard, seriously, and just do these strokes, these shapes. Don't think of it as I'm painting a Christmas tree. You know, just think of it as I'm painting eyelashes or something. I don't know, you know what I mean? Just find something to make it simpler in your brain. Then, you know, it just you'll do it, I swear. It's always just getting past ourselves, seriously. And I love how it's falling into the streaks. That's why I like that chip brush. I really love it, actually. Okay, now a cool one over here. Okay, and okay, maybe another warm one now. I didn't even really use my yellow, so let's make a really warm one with this yellow color that I've got here. Keep losing my yellow here. Well, I guess I don't want too much yellow down here. It wouldn't really show, would it? I mean, this could be a great, like, Christmas card, right? Oh, that one looks a little too wacky over here. Oh, I know what it is. I didn't paint the other side of it. You know, and sometimes when I was teaching a lot of those Christmas tree paintings in person, I realized that, like, sometimes it's easier to turn it upside down, you know, like for your wrist. So, you know, maybe do like this instead. That might, you know, really work a lot better for you. Of course, you don't want to overwork it, which I think I just did right there. Turn it back. Oh, it's not bad. But I mean, believe it or not, I think that's enough. I really do. I think it's done. Thank you. Thank you so much, you guys. You know, so you could let this dry. If you wanted to, you can go back in and add more detail. I wouldn't, because you know what happens? Every time we go back in, what do we wind up doing? We wind up, you know, like overworking the damn thing. So maybe I'll just put a hint of some trunks in here and there. I don't know if I even like that, actually. But like if you do kind of have a focal point, like maybe this one would be my focal point, put a couple of like sharper lines here and there, and that'll really bring the eye to that one. Okay, need to stop myself. Now, Yeah, like this I want softer. I want that to diminish. It's kind of more the focal point over here. So you could always make it a mess. Oh yeah, this wouldn't work with oils. No way. You can use tissue, not napkin, but a Kleenex tissue, which I don't think I have any down here, to gently pick up these puddles, or just leave them. They can, actually, maybe I'm gonna leave them. They look kind of cool. When I stand back, I think it looks kind of cool. So I'm gonna leave it. I might soften this a little. Oh, it's still. So see what here, I'm just gonna show you what happens. See how that just really softened that whole thing, pushed it way back. Yeah, that's got pushed back. Maybe I want to soften that. I mean, I'm really just pressing in with my finger. This I like. So figure out where you want to have. Now that's starting to look really abstract, but you know what? I really kind of like that. So that's probably good enough. So yeah, oops, can never really tell. I know this was really easy and simple, but I want you to try this. I want you to do this. Here I'm just kind of going back in with just a little bit of water. You know, if you want some to be just a little more detailed. Okay, so that's it. And what I would do then, let me grab some green glass. Maybe even this. Or where is that little green glass? Huh. I don't know what I did with it. I don't know where it is, but I've got little bits of green glass. I can't put this on here right now, but wouldn't this be gorgeous on there? You just literally dump it on top of the trees, and I'm telling you, they're gonna look really great. Green glass, this is platinum, or you know, maybe you would use a little bit of glitter. Just kind of wet it and put glitter on it, or that glass glitter. Wouldn't that be pretty to make them glistening pines? That's the whole point, is that the snow has hit them. So I'm gonna let this dry and I'll come back on and do that later. How's that? We'll add the glistening part later. So I'm gonna leave this covered, so I might want to paint more. May as well save my paint, right? That's why I like the styrofoam plates. This way I can do this. We did that at the paint parties. So yeah, are you gonna try it, Cheryl? Sue, are you gonna try it? Catherine is really Sue. Can't wait to see the end result. Yeah, me either. And I can't wait to do it on the really big one back there. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Bye.